Welcome back to this live studio recording here at MAC TV as we continue our discussions on the US T20 Open tournament. It has been severely affected by the inclement weather over the last day or so. Overnight we had heavy rains, and this morning the rain continued. So the tournament has been affected. But I have in studio here with me live bring you the real impact on what it's mean to the tournament. Sofian who is the Vice President of the operations of the U.S. Cricket Council. Welcome, Sofian.
Thank you for having me.
And how are you?
I'm doing well now that the weather's clearing up.
Great. Yes, I see that. Give us a little insight as to all that it entails, in terms of Vice President operations, working together with Mark to put this U.S. T20 tournament together. I know it entails a lot. Administratively, you have a lot to do in terms of the logistics, in terms of making sure the organization is in place. Give us some details as to the impact and what that entails.
Well, for the last few years, we've been doing the tournament. We've had anywhere between 28 and 42 teams at one point. We dropped down to 28 teams this year because we wanted to make sure the quality of cricket was good, and obviously we have a lot of big names, big players coming into this tournament. Starting from the beginning, we reached out to a few different partners that we had, including cricket clubs, as far as scoring, live updates, and stuff like that. We have MAC TV. We have our sponsors such as T20 Sports, T20 Energy drinks, and then we also have TV One, and we've been working alongside with them for the last few months now, making sure that we can have our tournament reach out to the world rather than keep it a local event, even though we have international players involved in it.
Great. You talk about international players. I know it's always a challenge, to satisfy the requirements of bringing international players to the U.S. to play cricket. There's always the visa requirements, always other challenges in terms of the logistics, in terms of all the arrangements. But at the end of the day, when, the selling point of a tournament is really the big names you attract to the tournament. And I saw yesterday Samuel Badri here, the number 1 T20 bowler in the world, ICC ranked T20 bowler in the world, and he was talking to the young kids, giving them some tips about cricket and bowling and whatnot. But tell me the challenge and tell our viewers, all the challenges that it entails in terms of getting these international players to come to the US T20 Open.
We work alongside the teams from the day they register. We're working with them, making sure that all of their players receive their visas on time, they get their flights booked, they get everything, all the support that's necessary to make sure that the international players receive the credit by coming here, showing the world that they're here. That's what we do. We make sure the players have everything they need, and the teams, the managers, the captains, they have whatever information, whatever they need from us. We make sure it's available to them. We do our best to accommodate our international players because, after all, they are the stars of our tournament, and they obviously help the tournament grow rapidly.
Of course, and that's an important aspect of any tournament, attracting international stars to your tournament. It helps sell the tournament. It helps create a better reputation. As I said, grows the tournament and makes the tournament much more attractive, not only to the players who are here now, but to future players who will look forward to come and participate in the tournament. And there are so many players, and there are so many international leagues that are propping up. You see the Bangladesh Premier League now attracting a number of international stars. This morning, last night actually, the Pakistan PCL,
PSL, yes.
Super League, had the auctioning for their teams, selling their 5 teams franchises, and they were all sold at very high prices, which is good, and it also means that your tournament, the US T20 tournament, also has an opportunity that now you have all these T20 leagues propping up to attract players to your tournament to make sure that they come and see and help develop cricket in the United States. But as Vice President operations, it entails much more than us players. It involves putting together, cricket in the US, and trying to sell cricket in the US. And you will be an integral part of those, operations and those strategies in terms of putting that together. Tell us a little more about your strategies, your areas of, competence in terms of that particular aspect, the US.
For the last few months, we've been traveling throughout the U.S., going to the ICC town hall meetings, working with them, seeing what they have planned for the United States. Alongside that, we've also been working on our plans throughout the U.S. I've been in Chicago, I've been in New York, I've flew out to Atlanta, I was in Seattle, I was all throughout California within the last few months. And some of them were for the ICC town hall meetings, and then some of them was to go and see the cricket that's happening in the regions. As you know, we've established 8 regions throughout the U.S., and we have our regional directors located in each area. We had a few tournaments that just took place, the Unity Cup, which was out in Chicago, and then there was also one which was the Emerald Cup, which is out in Seattle. So we go in and we show our support to our regional directors. They were both held by our regions. One was the Unity Cup was by Shiraz. He's our regional director for the Midwest region. And then we had Vishwa. He organized the tournament in Seattle for the Emerald Cup. We want to get involved in the league cricket because that is the backbone of cricket in the United States as of now. We need to give the players somewhere to go to after they've mastered league cricket. And the only way to do that is organizing venues like this and the national championship, which we had a month ago. The only way they can go further from league cricket, which they've been doing for the last, however many years, there hasn't been a professional competition for United States cricket until the U.S. Open, until the national championship. So we want to make sure we give those players something to go to after. What's the point of developing a player when they have nothing to look forward to?
So in regards to that, what's the next step with respect to the, I know you have been working very closely with Mark on the US T20 Open here. Is this a channel by which the US national players could showcase their skills and talent to be able to move forward, as you say, into the next level? What's the process?
The process in regards to the US Open, the US Open is more of a tournament where we get players from throughout the world. It's unlike any other competition in the world. We get players, obviously, from the United States. Then we get players from international countries that come in and compete against these players. So it's a completely different aspect of cricket, considering that you're putting up players that have no name against players that have a very big name. Like yesterday we had, I forget his name. Surya over here in the stadium playing.
Surya.
We had him playing in the stadium over here, and we had players playing up against him that didn't have much of a name.
Correct.
And that's something they look forward to. These players need something to look forward to. It would be an honor to get bowled by him. It would be an honor to get hit for 6. So these type of things.
It would be an honor to take his wicket also.
Yeah, of course. These are the type of things that these players look forward to when they come to these competitions, playing against those players.
Of course.
That feeling. Yesterday, 2 days ago, we had on the 3rd ball of the tournament, somebody managed to shatter a stump. Those are memories. Those are the things that the players will remember. Those are the things that the world remembers.
Well, your best form of selling your tournament is the actual the ambassadors, or the players are the ambassadors.
Of course.
Players who take part in the tournament. As you say, the international players who are here go back. Right?
Yes.
And tell people about the Mark T20, the US T20 Open, and say it's a great tournament. It's a tournament that you enjoy. It's also a tournament that you interact with all these international players, and you have the local players who are showcasing their talent but can make a name for themselves in this tournament.
Of course. They start here, and like I said, we need to develop our players, and the way to do that was our national championship, which we held a few months back. Actually last month, back in October, actually. We had all of our regions bring the cream of the crop, the best of the best, the players in their areas. They brought them in, and they went ahead and they played against each other, and we got to pick a national team for Cricket Council USA, the U.S. All-Stars, and they were the best players in the United States, which could become a team that then will travel, represent the United States at the level which it should be represented.
And that's great, when you have players who have been selected for the U.S. national team coming out, and you would have said at least you have played a part in this US T20, Mark T20 Open, to have helped develop those players to now become a national player.
Yes, of course.
And that's a fantastic achievement.
Definitely.
So we have been talking to Sofian Kumar, the Vice President of Operations for the U.S. Cricket Council, and also an integral part of the US T20 Open here at Broward County Regional Park. Sofian, it's a pleasure. It was a pleasure talking to you. So sharing all that information with us and giving an insight into the actual operations of the U.S. Cricket Council, and more so the role that you play in getting, the U.S. cricket and players that are involved in this U.S. cricket an opportunity to develop.
Thank you for having me.
Most welcome. We now take a short break, and we'll be back in a while.